A Pokémon Nuzlocke, the pinnacle of challenge for a Pokémon master, where if one Pokémon faints, it's dead forever. I decided it'd make a fun video and decided to livestream the whole process. Now first off are the rules. They're pretty simple. If a Pokemon dies, I can't use it, and I have to release it. I have to nickname every Pokemon, and I can only capture the first Pokemon I see on every route. Although, if it's a duplicate, I can reroll till I get a non-duplicate. Those are the rules! Also, just me and editing here. Seizure warning. A lot of the footage in this video is sped up. Several clips are sped up to even 10 times speed, or sometimes even 20. Basically, please be advised while watching the video. After thinking it over, I decided to go with Bulbasaur, since I was worried about Brock and didn't want to go with Squirtle since that would give my rival access to moves like Sleep Powder, which would be a pain in early fights. After that, I was headed to Pewter City and caught a few Pokemon. My battle against Brock began, albeit he went down quite easily to a combination of Leech Seed and Vine Whip. Soon after, our Bulbasaur evolved into an Ivysaur, and almost immediately after that, I encountered and caught Hela, the Nidoran female. After both grabbing the Moonstone in Rock Tunnel and losing a few Pokemon in Rock Tunnel, we headed out of it. Soon after, grabbing the Helix fossil because, well, you can figure out why. After leveling up my team, I began to battle Misty, which, once again, went down incredibly easy due to a combination of Leech Seed and Vine Whip. After just standing still for like 10 minutes, I honestly don't know what I was doing, we progressed. Now time for the Nugget Bridge battle against Blue. Wow, that rhymed! Both it and the rest of the battles on Nugget Bridge went down incredibly easily due to a combination of Rock Tomb, Body Slam, Double Kick. Basically, Hela swept every trainer on this bridge. Before entering the SS Anne, I was able to catch a Weedle, which chat insisted I used, so I obliged. After battling my rival on the SS Anne, which, I'll be honest, like 90% of this footage is a still frame. I honestly don't know what happened. This entire recording was completely scuffed. Thankfully, very little of importance happened. But I believe he died without anyone dying. Hard to tell, because all the footage we have left is of Nidoqueen killing his Charmander. So who knows? It's the exact same case with Surge, but I'm fairly certain our ground-type Nidoqueen easily handled his entire team. Also, me losing the footage means I don't have to complain about the horrible puzzle. So, you guys get to be freed of that. After that, we entered Rock Tunnel, where the recording actually works. Again, I really don't know what happened on the SS Anne and through Surge's fight, but I was worried about Rock Tunnel, not for the Pokemon inside. No, but for the fact I have no clue where I'm going. I hate this. I'm not picking up Flash. I never do. I hate this dark area. I know I could pick up Flash, but it's really, really annoying. Point being, we soon caught a Zubat named Milk. So at some point in the void of lost recordings, because this stream was really scuffed, I don't know why, but our Ivysaur died. Don't know when, don't know how. I can tell you it wasn't a gym leader because, well, it was alive during Misty, and I was able to recover a smidge of footage from Surge, and he was there. So at some point in between the Lieutenant Surge battle and Rock Tunnel, our starter died. I genuinely don't know when. Stream 2 just barely functioned. And then we encountered Hiker Lucas. He doesn't seem that threatening, but his Geodude went down easily. However, he whittled Nidoqueen down to such low HP that his second Pokemon was able to kill it. I think I'm using a Rama Leaf Green. Fire Red Leaf Green, either way. Oh, frig. Crit, 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 crit. Do something stupid. Oh! No. No. And with that, the rest of the team crumbled into pieces. Every single Pokemon we had was dead. Every Pokemon in the box was used. We had nothing. So that was the story of my first Pokemon Nuzlocke. What, do you honestly think I'm going to end the video on that? That'd be a horrible ending. So, of course, we booted up a new run and started once again. And literally lost to the first wild Pidgey after getting Pokeballs. Which means that's the story of my second Pokemon Nuzlocke! And believe it or not, my third Pokemon Nuzlocke didn't even make it that far. I accidentally misnamed my starter, and Chad harassed me to restart, and since we were literally still in Oak's lab, we did. Alright, Bob 4. Let's do this! Also, if you're wondering where the name Bob came from, considering my first one wasn't called that, we called a Voltorb right before Rock Tunnel in the first run, and Chad just insisted on naming my starter Bob 4. After catching a Pidgey, we caught a Rattata, who, despite everyone, including myself's thoughts, would be more instrumental to this run than anyone else. Meet Milky. We then caught Gigabug the Weedle. Now, you may have wondered why I skipped over catching Pidgey. Frankly, I forgot I caught Pidgey. It wasn't that important to this run. With a newly over-leveled Ivysaur, we quickly swept through Brock. After catching another Nidoran female, which, by the way, if you're wondering how I got so lucky to catch what is essentially a 15% chance on 2 separate runs, since Dupe's Claws is a thing, you actually knock out most of the Pokemon already on this route, only leaving about Nidoran female, Nidoran male, and I think one more that's slightly rarer. So, in reality, it's actually pretty common. But either way, we got Hellichad. I bought a Magikarp named Puppy, did some grinding, and swept Misty. Remember how I said Milky would be instrumental in this run earlier? Well, if you do, this is why. A level 20 Butterfree, my 2 best Pokemon were paralyzed and below half HP, and somehow, Milky saved the day. I switched into Milky to help just basically use him as switch fodder, so I could get in something like Ivysaur for free. I had zero intent of using Milky. I had zero intent of him surviving. I didn't think he would. He was switch fodder. And yet, somehow, he managed to take down a level 20 Butterfree. And just for clarification, I checked after this battle, Milky did not have guts. He does not have guts. He has run away. So I have no clue how he did this. I have no clue how he survived. All I know is, honestly, I think if Milky went down there, we had a full team sweep. I honestly don't think anyone would have survived. So, Milky, of all Pokemon, a Pokemon I literally kept in my party as switch fodder, saved the day. After that, we battled our rival once again. Thankfully, this fight went relatively well, with his Pidgeot quickly falling asleep and going down to a combination of Razor Leafs. His Kadabra was going extremely similarly until he landed a really powerful move on Bob. I then decided to switch into Gigabug to protect Bob. However, he landed a crit, killing Gigabug in the process. I continued the battle doing some switch shenanigans to keep Bob alive, before he landed a powerful move, putting Bob at 4 HP. I quickly threw a Super Potion. Items aren't inherently banned in Nuzlocke rules. After that, the rest of the fight went smoothly, trading back and forth with a combination of Leech Seed, Heals, Sleep, and Razor Leaf. After that, our battle against Surge begun. Once again, don't have footage of the trash can puzzle, so you don't get to hear me complain about it. Aside from that, the fight went pretty well. Aside from me attempting to bait a move and using Puppy, who is 4 times weak to electric moves. I mean, he lived. I'm just an idiot, and I'm pointing this out to set the stage for how a lot of my decisions make no sense, and I'm really, really amazed how smoothly a lot of fights went. After that, we caught Egg the Drowsy. After that, we re-entered Rock Tunnel. I was getting war flashbacks for, I think, good reasons, but thankfully, due to our really great coverage between the types that can handle all the Pokemon here, it wasn't an issue, especially this time having our starter. After that, we proceeded to gamble, because for some reason, all of the best TMs in this game are locked behind slot machines. I mean, in reality, I just abused save states, so I never lost, but that's besides the point. After that, we battled Blue. While he was grieving his dead Rattata, we were prepared to kick him while he was down. Until the unthinkable happened. Hellichad died, ironically in the Pokemon graveyard. After this tremendous loss, we had to keep going. One of our best Pokemon had died. I couldn't believe it. But I couldn't allow Blue to take down a Pokemon like that. I would never allow him to kill one of our Pokemon again. That's what I kept telling myself. But now's not the time to worry about that. We have to continue. We will beat him. The rest of his team went down easily. All of our Pokemon filled desperately with revenge. He was done, and we were able to progress. Then we entered the Rocket Hideout, which I think went relatively smoothly. So, aside from a few puzzles being annoying, I'm just going to show you the notable battles, mostly Giovanni. Turns out when your 2 best Pokemon are Grass and Water respectively, the Ground-type specialist goes down incredibly easily. Who would have thought? Then in Lavender Tower, we agreed to name the inevitable Ghastly after Hella. Basically just to keep her on the team in spirit. And we somehow got a Cubone. Like, genuinely, I did not even know Cubone spawned in Lavender Tower. So anyway, meet Mistake the Cubone. He wasn't really used, but chat sure as hell loved him. I was then put in a situation where I had to use Milky as switch fodder, which is what he was designed to do from the beginning. However, I had genuinely grown to like Milky due to him saving our team on countless occasions. We then fought a wild Snorlax. My intent was to capture this to use on the team later, while using Pixie for Erica's gym. However, that didn't exactly go to plan, as Snorlax one-shot Pixie, giving us our next member of the team, Murderer. Erica time. With my plan out the window, it was Murderer's job to, essentially, throw himself at the wall repeatedly until everything died. Which, when you're a Snorlax, that's actually a really good strategy. Right after Cycling Road, we quickly encountered and captured Nuggets the Doduo. Safari Zone time. I only decided to get the first Pokemon encounter here, despite there being several different areas. It was a Paris, and I'm bringing up the Safari Zone because I got a ton of TMs, most notably Double Team, which I decided not to use because I feel like that'd feel a bit cheaty, but I was keeping it in my back pocket in case we were down to 1 Pokemon. We then got an Eevee, which we named Fate, as we didn't know what we were going to evolve it into at the time because we didn't know what we needed yet. During the Team Rocket takeover, we encountered a trainer who, annoyingly enough, got a crit, killing Murderer. At this moment, chat realized why he was named that, and we decided to avenge Murderer's final wishes, taking down Team Rocket. Then after some deliberating, we evolved Fate into a Flareon, deciding we needed Fire-type coverage and there aren't many in Kanto to begin with. After defeating Blue, we got a Lapras, which I completely forgot about and was only reminded of because of chat. After getting the Master Ball, because like last time, Giovanni went down incredibly quickly, we headed to Koga, since if we can get Surf, we can get a Zapdos, which will be incredibly useful. Going into the fight against Koga, I was quite worried to begin with, due to his heavy use of Explosion, which could easily one-shot one of my Pokemon. So I instantly tried to put him asleep using Bob. However, we then proceeded to go back and forth, missing attacks, until the unthinkable happened. Bob almost died, living on 4 HP. Of course, I had to switch him out. However, the only Pokemon I had that was even close to the level was Puppy, but I needed to switch him in by sacrificing Egg. And then, Egg fainted. After his death at the hands of Koga, I had to sacrifice Tracy the Abra so I could switchly safe into Bob, who at that was still at reasonably low HP and had to potion spam and pray I lived. Once Bob was healed to a safe HP, the rest of the match was spent trading sleep powders, potions, and leech seeds until Koga went down. However, Puppy refused to be released, since they were the only Pokemon I had with Surf, which meant I had to throw in a death box. Which, for clarification, I've actually been releasing all of my Pokemon up to this point. I don't think I mentioned that because it didn't really matter for the storyline of this video, but I have been releasing them. With that, we caught Magnet Man the Magnemite, and soon used our only Master Ball, catching Amplify the Zapdos. Then we took down and almost immediately killed Sabrina. Like, literally, that was like 2 seconds. That was the whole battle. Like, we're on ×3 speed, but still. Then we revived our fossils, granting us Gary and Egg 2. After progressively throwing my head against a wall at Team Rocket's Rattata supplier, we eventually got the key and made it to Blaine. Amplify was cleanly sweeping Blaine until he got a really unlucky crit Fire Blast from his Arcanine, which sadly killed our Zapdos, and only counter for Birdkeeper Lance. We were able to finish the fight, however, due to everything that had just gone down, and the fact I spent over an hour in the mansion, I decided to end the stream, ending off the penultimate part to our journey. After that, we decided to go for Moltres and head down to the Sevi Islands. And by head down to the Sevi Islands, I meant grind and prepare to fight Giovanni. And as of always, when your 2 strongest Pokemon happen to counter him perfectly, he went down incredibly easily with literally no losses. It was at this point that we decided to battle Blue, and this fight was really hard. I'm not going to go play-by-play through every single turn, since no Pokemon actually died in this battle. However, there were probably something like 12 close calls where one of our Pokemon would have died on a crit or a high roll. It was insane how we managed to make it through this fight completely free. So, hence why I'm just showing you the entire thing on, like, mega speed up. Anyway, league time. Also, Magnet Man died. Going into Lorelei, our team was Bob 4 the Venusaur, Nuggets the Dodrio, Puppy Jr. the Lapras, Fate the Flareon, Sandwich the Sandshrew, and Egg 2 the Aerodactyl. Dugong went down quickly to a combination of Flamethrower and Giga Drain, while Slowbo lived on what had to be 1 HP and then potioned back to full. A few turns of Leech Seed, Sleep, Giga Drain, Cheese later, we got on to Lapras, which died very quickly, which left Puppy crying in the corner of its dead mother. I switched into Fate against Jinx, who somehow falls in love with a Jinx! After killing his fiancée, we moved on to Cloyster, which took forever. Cloyster's really annoying to fight. It went down easily. It's just very tanky, and most of my Pokemon that can comfortably counter it aren't very physically strong and are also more on the tanky side. Now time for the partly ground type Bruno. Insert the low-hanging Encanto joke here. Onyx is one-shot by a Surf from Puppy, while his Hitmonchan is one shot from a Drill Peck from Nuggets. After going for a fly on Nuggets against his Machop, Machop counters with a Cross Chop, killing Nuggets in the process. He then dies to a Surf before using Perish Song on his Hitmonlee. He then switches out into his final Onix, which ends the exact same way as his other one. After that, we decide to use Sleep Cheese against his Hitmonlee and win the fight. Time for Agatha. After using Sleep Cheese on our Gengar, it went down. Then, I used Flamethrower on Golbat and Arbok, which both got O-Code. Then, using Sleep Powder to stun her second Gengar, it soon fell to an Ice Beam. Haunter was a bit more annoying with its Curse. However, a combination of Leech Seed, Synthesis, and Giga Drain quickly took it down, ironically making its Curse more of a blessing. Now onto Birdkeeper Lance. He sends out his Gyarados while we send out Egg 2, hoping to spam Ancient Power, praying for an Omni Boost. After about 6 turns of this, with a potion thrown in the middle, the Birdkeeper's Gyarados goes down. He then sends out his own Aerodactyl, which, after trading a few hits, lowers Egg 2 to red HP, so we switch into Bob 4, which allows him to kill with a singular Leech Seed. After that, we switch into Puppy, who OHKOs every single one of his Dragonites and Dragonairs with one hit from Ice Beam. Stab Ice Beam on a special attacker sure is great. Now it's time for the battle against our rival. It starts with a Dragon Claw from Egg, followed by his Pidgeot doing a Feather Dance. We then trade Wing Attacks and Aerial Aces for a few turns, until I get a crit, knocking out his Pidgeot. Then, Egg goes down to his Gyarados. Bob begins his Sleep combo before chipping away with Bullet Seed, where he then switches to his Charizard, which we put to sleep, allowing us to safely switch into Puppy. Puppy, dealing with a constant barrage of status conditions from the newly sent out Exeggutor, has me switch in to Fate, who uses Flamethrower repeatedly, and conveniently getting a burn on his Rhyhorn as he switches it in. We then switch to Bob, who kills using his Bullet Seed. His sleeping Alakazam soon dies to a barrage of Bullet Seeds before he sends out his final Pokemon, Charizard. His already weakened Charizard goes down to a Surf from Puppy, winning us the battle. We did it. Wait, what? I thought... Since when was this Exeggutor alive? We're not done yet. There's an Exeggutor that I think everyone forgot about because I swore we killed it. Yeah, so apparently his Exeggutor didn't die. Like, straight up, he just baited me by having, like, 3 Pokemon I swear to God I had killed. Thankfully, the fight went down without a hitch. However, that completely came out of nowhere, as I swear their HP bars hit 0. And they weren't in the Pokeball icon for Blue's Pokemon when he sent out his Charizard. Hey, editing Brenden here. I realize while editing this, the status icon in this game for the Pokeball is completely grayscale and looks almost identical to the dead Pokemon icon in this game at a glance. I likely saw their statuses, which Bob had inflicted on all 3 of them, and assumed they were dead. So that is entirely my bad, and me not noticing a very subtle difference, which is shameful coming from a shiny hunter. And after that, we won the battle, becoming champion of the Kanto region. Why did I lose? I never made any mistakes raising my Pokemon. Darn it! You're the new champion of the Pokemon League. Although, I don't like to admit it. Brenden! When you first left with Bulbasaur. Yeah, Bulbasaur number 1. This is the 4th one, dude. This has been a long time coming. We did it. with the help of every single Pokemon on this journey. We had won. Bob, Puppy Jr., Egg 2, Sandwich, so many of them. If it wasn't for every single Pokemon we had caught, we wouldn't have made it here. The losses that made us stronger. We had done it. We had become the Pokemon champion. And as for our Pokemon, Flareon framed Sandwich for the murder of his fiancée, and they both ended up in prison. Nuggets ended up in the Great KFC in the sky, while the rest of our Pokemon lived happy lives for the rest of it. Puppy Jr. still going back to Lavender Town to mourn the death of their father. And that was the story of my first Pokemon Nuzlocke. As said at the start of this video, all of this was live streamed over here on YouTube. If you would like to stop by, feel free. And if you enjoyed, please be sure to like and subscribe. It helps the channel out a lot.